I'm Heather from booktubes, and this is my third year doing a video that is jealous and possessive hero romance recommendations. This is my rec video that does the best, and it is also something that I am obsessed with, always have been. So for me, jealous and possessive, I love a jealous and possessive hero. I don't like when that gets turned on the main character or the love interest and they are being treated poorly because the hero is jealous. I don't like that. Like, chop a man's hand off for touching what's yours, but don't get in the face of your significant other and scream at them, you know? So that's what I'm going for. The first one is Aaron's Patience, which is The Townsends of Williamsport #1 by Tiffany Patterson. I should actually really read another book by this author because I read this in July and was immediately like, when I say I want jealous and possessive, this is what I want. This is going to go in the jealous and possessive rec video 6 months from now. And it was just exactly the dynamic that I want. Now listen, I do not like second chance romances. I do not like Secret Baby. Guess what this is? But I am telling you, this is the exception. This is the one that is worth it. This man can do so much wrong and yet still be great in my eyes. So we have like this billionaire, right? And they were broken up through circumstances not of their own choosing. So she blames him, he blames her, right? And she has his twins and has for the last 6 years or so. I believe they're 6. And they happen to run into each other at a BDSM club and they have an interaction. And then he's like, you're not getting away again. He doesn't say this to her, but he's like, she's not getting away again. She's gonna pay for leaving my life without letting me know why. Finds out about the twins, has his lawyers tell her that he's taking custody unless she marries him. Now, he's very rich. He has this BDSM club blackmail and there's no record that he was ever there or anything, so like he kind of has her backed into a corner. And it's one of those things where for a lot of people that's very much a deal breaker, and I understand that, and it's also something that I would consider gross. But he's not really trying to take her twins away from her, right? He's really trying to get his family together. Is that toxic? Yes, of course it is. Does he interfere with her work and all sorts of things where it's just like, red flag, run, run? Yes, he does. Was I rooting for him the entire time? Like, sir, get the love of your life back. Treat her the way that you should. Yes, I very much was. I was on his team the whole way, even though I was on her team. And like, she had so much reason to be justifiably angry with him. And I was like, yes, you're right. Make him pay for that, but also you belong together. It was great. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It was great. You get like hints of his brother's romance also, and I'm just like, yeah, I should probably read you. This is the one book that I got from TikTok. I got from the author's TikTok that lived up to my expectations. I was like, oh, I'm so happy that the TikTok said that this is what I would get, and that's exactly what it delivered. So if you're gonna read one and you want that absolute jealous and possessive vibe, dynamics playing the whole way through, this is the one. Next I had The Woman with the Ring by Jessica Gadziala. This is a forced marriage of convenience. It's a mafia romance. He forces her into a marriage for an alliance and basically kidnaps her and says if she doesn't marry him, he's going to kill her entire family, who he, you know, gets at a meeting and stuff. So she marries him. A content warning for claustrophobia. He's not aware that she's claustrophobic and does like put her in a small room, and obviously it's very traumatic for her. This is one of those, don't touch my wife, that's my wife, don't hurt my wife. And I am such a sucker for that. I'm so sorry. Like, all you have to do is be like, that's my wife, and I'm with you, sir. You're right. You might be a very questionable person, but I'm on your team now. He has no intention of loving her. He has no intention of really being with her, but She worms her way under his skin. There is a other woman, which just like, sir, did he cheat on his wife? No, he did not. Should he have been like so much smarter and like gone ahead of it and gone rid of this woman before his wife was having to deal with her? Yes, I was like flabbergasted at the lack of just, not even consideration, just the lack of foresight, the lack of like, this is going to cause problems. How can you not know it's going to cause problems? But there's also like a scene where he kind of bashes someone's face in because he touches her and things like that. It's great. I recommend. Next I have Hold by Claire Kent. This is non-con dubious consent levels, but not extreme on it. So we have a prison planet. You have two humans though. They aren't alien species, they're humans. You have this fascist totalitarian, is that even the right word, government, and it's a dictatorship, and you know there's no rights. So they've done away with the death penalty because that's inhumane. However, all offenses, whether it's trespassing, speaking back wrong, murdering, you know, all the things, they're all given the same punishment. So there are two possible punishments. One is a prison planet, which is kind of a free-for-all. It's inhumane living conditions, but there's like certain things that they don't do because they won't be able to get away with it. Or there's planet dumping, where you get dumped on a planet that doesn't have any civilization on it, basically. And the third book is that, and it's a woman getting dumped and then she has a romance with a caveman. Highly recommend that one as well. This one is the prison planet and she is being dumped, and it's majority men, and the women usually don't survive very long, right? For obvious reasons. And so one of the guards tells her your best bet of survival is to find a very strong prisoner that no one's going to mess with and sleep with him in exchange for protection. So she does that. She goes for the loner, you know, and he has the most secure cell and everything. And they have sex right away. And it's so interesting because he's a good person who's kind of losing his humanity, right? She has in her mind what this exchange is. And so like she won't argue with him. She won't, you know, say anything that might annoy him to where he would want to get rid of her and stop protecting her. And he's so bothered by this, and the conversations that they have about the power dynamic and all of that is great. It's perfect. It's perfection. This is my favorite execution of this trope I've ever read, and I am obsessed with this author now, and this is what started it. I've read it twice in the last 6 months. Next I have Demon's Dream by Elle, Kayson. This is like a 800-page book, and it's really two romances. So you have multiple POVs, but you specifically have 4 main characters. So you have one couple and then another couple. And the 2 women are sisters. Their dad is head of a crime family and things like that. And because of that, they have all these circumstances. There's a long list of content warnings for this. I'm just going to let you know. The guy that his name is Demon, he had a horrific childhood with every abuse imaginable, including childhood prostitution and things like that, and beating and awful things that you're going to see some flashbacks of. It is kind of heavier towards the front of the book, and it's not going to go on and on and on and on, but it is very heavy. His trauma is incredibly heavy. Also, later in the book, you are going to have a really bad whipping scene, and I would proceed with caution on that. This is some possessive, obsessive, jealous. I'm literally like picturing a scene right now. It is so good. If you want some alpha men who are not going to take anything, even from their women, but they are going to be so protective and possessive of them, they're going to absolutely pay back tenfold any harm that comes to them. All of these things. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I cannot begin to tell you how much I enjoyed it. And listen, I picked this book up because it's so long. I was like, be bad, let me DNF. No, I was hooked. I'm not kidding you. From page 1 to the very end, you will inhale this book. And shout out to Taima at Shades and Pages. I 1,000,000% read this book because of her, and she was right. Then I have The Lone Waltz Rejected Mate, which is 5 packs number 3 by Kayson, an author that I am completely obsessed with. I do recommend the entire series for this, and I do not like rejected mates. I do not like second chance. I do not like these things, and Kayson is like my exception. Every one of her plots, I swear, is something like this, and normally I would just run away, but it's her and I'm obsessed. So this one is a huge age gap, and also the older wolf, he doesn't have control of his wolf and it's literally dangerous, and so he has always wanted his mate. He's obsessed with her, but she's so young and she's so sweet, and he's scared for her safety, so he does reject her, and of course she doesn't like it, but he is very jealous and possessive. He doesn't like any of the men around her, although like he also can't take her, and it's just like, There's stuff where like they're kidnapped together and he will do anything for her. He will do anything for her except put her in danger by living with her. And it's just so sad, but also so sweet. And of course it works out in the end. But I loved this one particularly because he never caused her pain on purpose. He never did it intentionally. And he also was always obsessed with her, but put her safety above his own happiness. And it was so sweet. Next I have Unhinged, which is Necessary Evils #1 by Onley James. This is a male series, and it is psychopaths and sociopaths, mostly psychopaths, let's be honest. And they were adopted as children by this billionaire, and it's like an experiment to have them kill people who need killing without the emotional ramifications of, you know, killing lots of people because they don't have those same emotions. And these are insta-lust obsession, and I love that. I am such a fan of fictional psychopaths. I just love the way that they're obsessed, and it's like, don't touch my toy, like this is mine, this person is mine, don't touch it. And how the soft fuzzy love isn't necessarily there, but they would do anything for the object of their obsession. So where's the line? This is a dark romance. It does balance, I think, the dark and the mystery and the vigilante and stuff well with insta-lust in the relationship, but this one does deal with child trafficking and child sexual abuse and things like that, so be aware of that. But he killed this person's dad, and now he's there to get revenge, and our psychopath kind of plays a little bit of a cat-mouse game with him, but also is obsessed and is going to take care of him in every single way. And it's an extremely hyped series, and I gotta tell you, it's worth it. Next I have The Never King, which is Vicious Lost Boys #1 by Nikki Crowe. This is not a good series. It's very vibes and insta-lust and just like, okay, we're gonna go with it. It's not great, but it is pretty addictive, I won't lie to you. So this one, you have Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. They are not children, they are not teenagers, they are hundreds of years old with magical powers and all sorts of things. But we have Winnie, who is a descendant of Wendy, and her family, the women go insane on their 18th birthday, and she has endured all sorts of abuse in order to try and prevent this from happening. And on her 18th birthday, Peter Pan comes, and she learns that her family is not psychotic. Peter Pan is real, and something happens in Neverland that breaks their minds. So she's obviously very worried about that. But we also have a very interesting setup because we have an 18-year-old, right? We have an 18-year-old who has, for the last couple of years, used sex as a weapon and as a means to get what she wants and needs for protection, for whatever. And so it's something that is like her go-to in her arsenal, right? So the fact that she immediately sleeps with her captors is more believable because that's her go-to. And I really liked that. I thought it made so much more sense than just having a virgin that was like, oh, let me sleep with these 4 people that catered up to me and I just met, right? So Peter Pan is going to rip the heart out of someone for touching her, and because it's wide shoes, I like wide shoes, and I think a lot of people who don't read it maybe don't know this. The wide shoes, usually you can be with the other people in your relationship, but if anyone else tries to touch you, that's a no-go. So the jealous and possessive vibes are still there, even though it's not just one person. And I really liked what she did with the characters of the Lost Boys and Peter Pan, because that story doesn't interest me at all. But the way that she did it, it was like a completely different thing, and I liked it so much better. It's also very kinky. And lastly, I have Ruthless Bones by Marianne Blackwood. This is, again, not very good, I would argue, but is a fantasy romance series that is following the same couple through all these books, and each book picks up where the last one left off, and you have these villains. It's very stereotypical, it's very gimmicky. It's based on this idea that it's the villains that you're rooting for. And there's some very repetitive phrasing, so if that is something that you can't stand at all, don't pick this one up because it's pretty blatant. However, you have these 2 villains who are trying to kill each other, or have been trying to kill each other for years, and they are forced to work together because there's a threat from the heroes that is going to wipe all of the villains out if it's successful. And so why try and kill each other when you're about to die? You might as well focus that energy on trying to survive, and then you can go back to killing each other. And I really liked all of the times that they betrayed each other and stabbed each other in the back, and how they respected that. And we're like, oh yeah, you did get me that time. And that was really fun. Also, there's really good steamy scenes, really good kink in here. Also, it was so fun to watch these 2 fall in love and be like, oh crap. I definitely have feelings for her. She can never know. And he ruins all sorts of operations because she's flirting with people to get information, and he's like, that's my wife, because they're posing as husband and wife. That's my wife. Do not touch her. I'm going to beat you to a pulp. And it's very satisfying. You're someone who always roots for the villain and loves those dangerous meet cutes, those violent meet cutes. If you love up against the wall with a knife and that turns into kissing, this is that. This is that, written to be that, and it's a very fun time in that sense. So I loved it. I absolutely don't believe it's particularly good, but I do love it. So those are my jealous and possessive recommendations. This is one of my very favorite things to read. Sometimes it is not done in a way that I enjoy, and I'm like, ew. And sometimes I'm just like, yes! So if you have recommendations for me, please do let me know in the comments. If you've read or want to read any of these, let me know. And or if you've watched the previous year's ones and read or loved any of those, let me know too, I guess. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!